Hi guys, I just thought I'd do a test run with something easy because I've moved my craft room around and I'm not sure about the lighting, so I didn't want to do something too involved just in case my videoing didn't work and I had to start all over again, if you get my drift. So what I'm doing, and I thought I'd take you along for the ride, I'm just doing a little swap with somebody from Canada, and she's offered to send me some doll stamps, stamped images of Julie Nutting dolls and Santoro Gorgeous dolls. So I thought I'd send her something that she didn't have, and she doesn't have the ticket dies or the field notes dies. So I thought I'd do her some of those, and I hope she likes vintage because that's the style she's getting. So I've done a few of these before, and I just use scraps, and that's why I like stamps sometimes. I mean, digi-kits are really great, but it's good to have a few stamps up your sleeve as well, because then you can use your scraps, scrap bits of paper that you've torn off things, or strips of paper used when you're cutting down your pages for your journals. I've got lots of these from when I've made my planner, and skinny strips as well. These stamps are so cool for that. You've got smaller stamps and you've got itty bitty stamps, and you can just stamp a couple of these that you think might work, ripped out, and add it onto a collage or add it on like a sticker. You could even stamp these onto sticker paper. In fact, that's a great idea. I have got some of that somewhere, so I will do that as well. And then I'll bundle it up together, some tickets and some stamped images, and put that in an envelope and send that off to her. So really cool. Just to be able to use your scraps. These are going to be for the tickets, so that's white cardstock, and then you can age it or distress it with some distress ink, and little bits of scrap like this. And these have literally come off other projects. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll just speed you up while I'm doing the stamping bit, and then I'll bring you back a little bit later. Okay guys, I've got a huge pile here. I'm not sure if it's going to get all in the packet because I don't want it to fill up too much, because I might get it sent back through lack of postage, not sure. Maybe I'll leave the cardstocky ones out, we'll see. But lots and lots of variations so she gets the idea of what's on the stamp. And yeah, so now I'm going to make her some tickets. Did it on coloured cardstock too, which is a great idea. Just gives it some more interest. So these are all scraps, guys. It's a great way to use up scraps because you can't put your scraps in the printer. Well, I guess there's a way, but it's not as easy as it is to just stamp away. So now I'll do some tickets, and I'm sure you've seen these done before too, so I'm not going to bore you with that either. I might leave a clip in of me quickly doing it. But what they are is Tim Holtz's ticket booth stamps, and they come with a die set. And they make really, really cool tickets. And I'm just going to do it with an archival black ink on white scraps of cardstock. These are scraps left over from card making or other projects, usually card making. And I will be making the stamp fit the scrap, and then I will put them through the die machine, and then I will distress them. And they're really, really cool, so I might leave the clip in, we'll see. But that's what I'm putting in her little package. guys, I really want to get this project finished, so you might hear a bit of background noise because I think my husband's in the kitchen. So I'm just going to use a bit of distress ink and vintage photo and some oxide and fired brick and distress and shabby shutters, just to give a bit of difference to the colours, because it's all done on white, and you can easily do this obviously on any scrap you've got. I did some of the other ones on vellum actually, and that's really cool. You can do vellum. To do vellum you need the archival ink, not the distress, because it'll just rub off. So any archival ink will be great on vellum. You just got to set it aside to dry for a while, and then you're good to go. And it's beautiful. And there's my little vellum piece there that I did on the other set. And it's gorgeous because you can layer over obviously with vellum. I should have done some more, but I'm running out of time. This is taking ages and I keep getting sidetracked and having problems with filming today. So what I'm doing is I'm just going around the edges like I normally do with everything, and then I kind of look at it and decide if it needs any more in the middle type of thing. So these ones I've done before in the past. I've used other scrapbook paper and I've actually lined it up and got it on the back on some of them. Oh, actually, that's not true. That's one a friend did for me before I got the die set, and I haven't used it. Oh, better set that aside. Okay, so you can line them up on the back, but I haven't done that this time. I kind of don't tend to use them double-sided, but yes, that would be fantastic to do. So there I've done it with a yellowish colour, and that would have been Wild Honey, because that's the only dark distress colour in that shade I've got. And then that one was Shabby Shutters. So just continue on a couple more in the vintage photo. I think vintage photo is cool. Love it. If you only get one distress ink, it's got to be vintage photo, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm hoping she likes these as much as I do, and maybe she'll need to go and buy herself a set. So, do some red-ish colour, just for some difference. Oh, I love this colour. Fired brick. It's going to be a bit different using oxide as well. You get some deeper colours. Oh, doesn't that look great? Love it. For some reason London tickets, or these type of little tickets, just always got to be red to me. Or pinkish. You can do the back, but I'm not doing the back today. One thing I missed out on was a ticket die with a strip ticket die. They don't make them anymore. I wish I had one. So I got my eyes out for one of those. It does take a bit of time, this, but it's just great to use your scraps, and it's something you can do in front of TV, pretty mindless. Once you get the hang of matching up your die with your ticket. And of course the die set has the the pictures on the front, so always keep this picture because then you can tell which ticket goes with what. And you can put through quite a few at once. I was lining them up with, where's my green little thing? There it is. You can line them up with some tape or some magnetic plate in your die machine, and then you can put through quite a bit at once. Okay, maybe I used this wrong sponge with a vintage photo, so we've got vintage photo coming through first, but that's okay. Lovely. It's quite a cool colour, this shabby shutters. Oops, and we've got some vintage photo coming through as well still. That's great. Adds to the effect. I'm not fussy when it comes to sponges at all anymore. You wouldn't know me. Back in my Stampin' Up days, I couldn't stand mixing colours or anything. To be honest, I still have all my Stampin' Up inks, and I would never do that with my Stampin' Up inks, but with Distress ink it's fine. Whoops, put the right lid on the right thingamay. So I decided to put it in an ephemera holder, and I know a lot of people have been doing these to put their ephemera in to hold all of their things for themselves, but also little ones for gifts. And I first saw Roxy Creations do one of these ephemera holders, and the idea is it's sort of like a stamp album where you can slip your ephemera into little pockets. And when I first saw them being done, I went ahead and did piles of pages, but I only glued them and I didn't sew them, so they kind of fell apart. So I need to redo my ephemera holder, but I've seen people do them as little gift Happy Mail packages, so I thought what a good idea for Liz. So I'm just doing something super quick because I've spent a bit of time stamping up the stamps and die cutting the tickets, so I thought I'd just pop them in a very, very quick ephemera holder. So I've got a piece of black cardstock and I scored it down the middle just to get a nice fold, and it measured 12 by 8, and that fits in a nice envelope size, so I can get the maximum value for money for postage. And I've got pieces of cardstock that I've cut. Thought I'd use the roses for the front and the back, and I'll distress those and make them a bit pretty and put something on the front to decorate it up. And I've got some old, oh not old, it's new, but you know, it's repurposed because it's ribbon that came off a gift that I was given, or somebody in the family was given. I've got a whole drawer full of this stuff, so I thought that would go. It's pretty pretty to be going with the vintage ephemera that I've got going on inside, but I thought if I distress it up, we'll see how it turns out. If it doesn't turn out, I will scrap that idea and keep it for something else. But let's give it a go. So I've got the cardstock, I have got the ribbon, and I've also got, so did I say this, the cardstock I've cut just a 1/4 inch less, so that's 5 3/4 by 7 3/4, and I've got 2 pieces for the front and the back, the same, and then I've got 2 different pieces for the inside, and then I've got the little strips of vellum that I'm using for the pockets, and I'll sew those. So first of all, I'll get rid of my scoreboard so you can see a bit easier. And by the way, that's an old Stampin' Up one. For most of you will probably know that I was a Stampin' Up demonstrator for quite some time, so I've got a lot of my tools are Stampin' Up tools, and I love them. but there are other ones available. If you're looking for something, let me know and I can recommend. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is line these up and sew them with a zigzag stitch. Now, I haven't watched any other videos of these thingies where they've sewed them. I've just seen the modification after I did my ephemera holder. So I'm just going to go to the sewing machine and sew straight down that edge to line it up, and then I'm going to line the next one up and sew down with a zigzag stitch, and then the next one I'm going to line up and sew straight down with a zigzag stitch, and then I'm going to go right round the other three sides with a zigzag stitch. But before I do that, I'll just grab my bone folder and curve it a little bit. This will just allow it to sort of open up a bit more on the inside. So like that, and then when they sit down, they'll just have a little bit more of an opening at the top. Okay, so I'm going to go do that on both pieces and I'll catch you back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. It's been a while actually, because some neighbour of ours decided to get a really loud car going for ages. I don't know what they were doing, but we never have that, so I don't know what's going on. So I'm just getting my cord out of the way. And in the meantime, the skies have darkened and I'm hoping the light is good enough. So I've gone and sewed those pockets and they turned out quite good. Great thing about junk journaling is you don't have to get any lines straight. I love it, love it, love it. And the pockets have turned out really cool. So they'll work really well for my little bits and pieces that I'm going to put in. And I'm going to... in the meantime, while I was waiting for that car to stop, I decided, no, I'm going to change the paper because I wasn't really digging it. So this is a little bit more vintagey, and I've got some bits and pieces to layer up for the front. And I'm just trying to decide whether I'm going to glue my ribbon. I think I'm going to have to, because I'm a bit worried about the mail. You know, if you put a brad or anything in the mail, I don't want her to not get this or have it returned to me, so I think I'll just glue that. So what I need to do is distress the edges of my paper, and just making sure you're still in frame. Yep, good. Okay, so I'm just going to distress the edges, and the way I do it is just kind of getting my dauber thingy on a bit of an angle. I'm using Vintage Photo, which is my favourite, but I think it's actually my favourite with walnut stain. Sometimes I'm into walnut stain and sometimes I'm into Vintage Photo. So I try not to do too much, but this one I wanted to sort of vintage up a little bit more. So I'm just using a cheap craft mat here. I think I got it from the Warehouse, which is our, cheap store in New Zealand. I guess it's like Walmart, I'm not sure. Yeah, so just quickly doing this. Then I'm going to use a mixture of glue and tape for the outside. This is double-sided tape, It's actually, by Stampin' Up, I still have a bit of that left. And when I'm doing anything like this, I do like to tape the edges. I mean, I don't always do that, but in this case I think I'm going to, because it's going in the post and just want to make sure it's secure. The glue stick's absolutely fine, but just because I'm going on this textured cardstock, I've decided to go with the tape. And if you're wondering what the paper I'm using is, it's a Kaisercraft one. I'm not sure if you can still get it anymore, but it's called Floral Romance. If you can get it, I will link it below. It's a single-sided paper, so it doesn't, I bought it a while ago and I haven't used it a lot because of that. I like double-sided paper, to be honest. So because it's just a 1/4 inch inside that line, I'm just going to line that up the edge. I'm going to do the same thing with the back. Okay, so I'm just going to do my cover before I put the inside pockets on. So I've already sort of decided what I'm going to do, and this is a glue stick job, and this is just a printable, and I can't even tell you where I got it from because whoever I bought it from hasn't put their name on the side, but they're vintage seed packets. So, and this is just my sample, but I decided I'm not probably going to get it anymore, so get it again, print it out again. So I'm going to use that here. I could look it up on my Etsy history, couldn't I, to see where I'd got it from. It's definitely from Etsy. Vintage seed packets. And then I'm going to use my tool to just distress the edge a bit. So the Tim Holtz distress tool. You could use scissors if you don't have one of these. I like having this though because I'm a bit precious about my scissors. I've got paper ones, fabric ones, cotton ones, blah de blah. And that's going to go in the middle like that, but just need to do some layering. I've used my tearing ruler for that. I'm going to use that as my base, and I'm just going to put that there. I'm going to sew that around this, so this is just a bit of interest without having any too many layers because it's going through the post. So, oh, that bit there. Yeah. Okay, so fabric glue now. Just a little bit because I'm sewing around it. I don't want that glue going through my machine. Just a little bit there. Just to hold it. Yep, the right way up. Just not going too close to the edge because that's where I'm going to sew. A little bit there. I'm using my Sweet Sugar Belle glue bottle. You do have to clean out the nibs every now and again, so I keep a spare one clean so that I've always got one to put on in case I get clogged up like what just happened. And then I'm going to sew that there as well. I'm going to want to add something else, but I don't because of the mail. So I have to keep calm and keep it simple. So I'm just going to sew around that and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've sewed around that. I just did a straight stitch and I kept the same brown on the thread, and I just put a zigzag where I had that little piece of vintage lace, and I'm going to put that there with a glue stick. And look at the lid. If you could see my desk, guys, I'm a super messy person when I'm in the middle of a project, so I'll have to clean up before I can go any further just about. Right, now inside I'm going to put the ribbon. How's it going to look on the front? Yep, I think that's okay. Okay guys, I've got everything together and I've got my little folder and I'm going to put my little bits and pieces in, and hopefully it doesn't get too bulky for the mail. Let's see. Excuse my wet hands, I've just washed all the ink off my hands. Let's see. Some small ones on the top. And like I say, this idea of making little ephemera folders with the stitching and the vellum and everything all comes from what I've seen on Instagram and Roxy Creations and probably Tracy Fox. First made one, maybe a year and a half ago, and it was, I used it for my my own ephemera, digi kits and stuff, but I ended up not using it because it kind of fell apart because I didn't sew it, and then since then I've seen people doing it with the sewing, so and that's definitely an improvement. Oh look, they're all fitting in, that's great. So I may redo some of my pages in my ephemera folder. They're super cute, but yeah, I prefer to have my ephemera in trays, and I've made my own trays, and I might make a video on that at some stage, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Now these, it's quite a pile, so I don't know if I'll fit them all in. Now she's going to cut them herself, so I'm just going to cut them to kind of fit them in. So now I've got this folder, and I'll put those, just hang those in the middle, and then close it up and tie it in a bow. And I can't tie bows, it takes me ages to tie bows, so just tie it so you get the idea. And I'll cut my ribbon off to length. Oh yeah, and then I will cut that. Fabric scissors. Much nicer than my old paper scissors, which are actually fabric scissors too, that I've had for about 25 years. Need a clean, but that's what I use for paper now because they were too blunt. But they work great, so I'm not getting rid of them anytime soon. Right, so that's that. Off to Liz. Oh, that's my ticket from my friend Nikki. I'll put that in a safe place. And I hope you like that, guys. And I hope you got a few ideas to use up your scraps. You can use vellum, you can use all your little bitty pieces like this big, you can use your strips, and then you can stamp it where you want. And I love them. I love these field notes. You've got to have field notes. If you don't have any other vintage stamps and you want to get some, I really recommend field notes. Can't show you it again now because I've taken all the stamps off and I need to put it back. So, hope you like that, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!